You want to continually upskill so that the market will pay more for your skills. To get financially free, does anybody remember the formula for financial freedom? Boom. Skills. And we're going to continue to what? Upskill, right? So we don't get to a point where we think we've arrived, right? That's all bad. As soon as you think you've arrived, you're fucked. So we're working on upskilling constantly. We're constantly developing our skill sets. The market pays more the more valuable your skill set is and the better you are at it. Now this is really important to understand because that isn't what you were taught if you completed academia. Complete the class, move on. It's all what you were taught over and over again. You want to continually upskill so that the market will pay more for your skills. Communication, yeah. What else? Yeah. What else? So what do? Put yourself in an environment where you are paid and rewarded for your skill set, not your fucking time. That's the first way you get off the fucking grid. You want to, as quickly as you can, get paid for your skill set, not your time. You know where time came from? As a measure? Labor. Physical labor. It's an old school system. You do not want to be paid for your time. You want to be paid for your skill set. So, I'm still in Consumerville over here because I can't afford not to be. You need to update your skill set. If anyone in my company comes to me and goes, hey, I have an idea that I think can raise our revenue by $1 million next year, and I need this to employ it, if I hit that $1 million, I want a 20% bonus, which would mean $200,000 bonus to them. What do you think my answer is going to be to that? Fuck and yes. What do you need? It's that simple. That's upskilling. Okay, so now we take our money, because we're producers, not right, and we invest it in assets. What's the number one asset we invest in? Boom, our brains. Some of us get an education before we go to school, the rest of us after we get out. Mark Twain. Number one asset is your brain. So you take your earnings and you invest it back into you, which then it does what? Helps you upskill. Elon Musk calls me tomorrow and he goes, 100 G's, 2 hours of my time, you can follow me around SpaceX. Where do I wire that shit? It's not a question. Done. Because education means more to me than money. I can take education and multiply money. Make sense? You never know, just one person comes into your life and shares one piece of information with you and it changes your life. Hopefully we're doing that for you fucking every day. If you're listening, you just take one little piece of that information, go test it for yourself and then see what it does for you. Money turns into assets. Other assets include what? Biz would probably be next. I've taken a $16,000 investment in me and turned it into a few $100 million in revenue. That is competing with Bitcoin. Certainly some of the best stocks out there. So for me, I'm partial, but investing in my own business is the first place I would start because I have an immediate impact on that and I have a lot more control over that. Stock, real estate, crypto. Not a financial advisor. I don't fucking play one on the internet. Those are all assets. What am I doing? I'm teaching my money to be a producer for me. I'm teaching my money to produce so that I don't have to do what? Trade time and energy for money. I'm going to go put money to work. I'm going to make money my bitch. Go work for me 24/7. You know what money likes to do? Exactly that. It's begging for people to put it to work. Evidenced by, ever seen a kid, a few $100s in his wallet? What happens? It's like, fuck. It just wants to go somewhere. True story. Some of you know this. Money wants to be put to work. If you don't have a plan for your money has a plan for you. You ever notice how much you make? If that money sits in your checking account, somehow it's gone by the end of the month, no matter how much you make? You're like, what the fuck? How did that happen? Because it wants to be put to work. And if you aren't going to put it to work, it's going to find somebody that will put it to work. It is literally the energy of money. So all you got to do is stop being a consumer, figure out how to be a producer, start making money on money. So now you have assets that are creating money. Gets fun here. Take those assets, figure out what your lifestyle is, how much money you want to make, whatever that is. What kind of lifestyle do you want to live? Are you a Bali kind of guy? Go live on a commune somewhere? You want to have a compound in the middle of Nevada? What do you want? You want a ranch? What's your lifestyle? We'll figure it out. Let's say your lifestyle is $100,000 a month. Okay? $100,000 a month, that's my lifestyle. That'll get me where I want to be. All right, cool. All you have to do is employ enough assets to create passive-ish. I don't know if there's really a thing as passive income, but you can get pretty damn close. We'll say non-active income. And once your passive income exceeds your expenses for the month, guess what? You're fucking free. There is your formula. With the pitfalls. What is the biggest pitfall? There's 3 of them, and it's on the board. I would say number 1 is not upskilling. Not continuing to get better at your craft. Right? That would fall under not investing in your brain. Really your whole well-being. I wouldn't say just your brain, probably mind, body, and spirit, but you get the point. So I like to ask the question when I'm interviewing people, which one is most important to you? Making money, growing, accolades and recognition, or relationships? You can just write it on a grid. Which one of the 4 of these is most important to you? There's only one right answer. And I might say, here's 10 credits. Split those 10 credits on the board the way you see is most important to you. Relationships, accolades, money, or growing. Now, what is the only correct answer there? Why? Because if you're focused on growing, you will improve all of the others. You don't have a fucking choice. It will happen. Which is why I'm obsessed with people that want to grow. This hurt me early in life because I assumed everyone wanted to grow. I also assumed everybody liked truth. Turns out humans are not really big on either one of those things. Okay? So that would be your first one. You could fuck up pretty bad. The second one is get stuck in Consumerville. Now you get stuck in Consumerville for a few reasons. One, you care more about what other people think of you than what you think of yourself. Jones effect. Keeping up with the Joneses. This is a term that goes back to the baby boomers, in which through a beautiful comparative world, we figured out whether we were a success or not by whether or not we had 2.5 fucking cars, a boat, 2 kids, white picket fucking fence, like our neighbor did. If I was a marketer, if I was fucking corporate America, I'm a genius. I just brainwashed a whole group of people to think they are only valuable if they can continue to consume. Which keeps the system alive. Woo! Damn. Somebody was really working on that one. You laugh. It's fucking true. How many people are stuck in this fucking rat race? It's so much so that even though we fully know for 80% of people academia is the worst place to put your fucking money, people still get weird and anxious about not going to school. Why? Because it is literally programmed in us. I'm only a success if I do this. Even though everything is screaming, don't do it, don't do it. It's a fucking scam. No, I must. For a lot of people right now, renting makes a lot more sense than buying. But most of us still think, what do we gotta do? Gotta buy. A lot of the quote unquote new rich keep advocating for why owning the piece of property you live in is not smart. I've been on both sides of this, and to be fair, I see both sides of this argument. You want to own land, you want to own as much land as you freaking can. The house you live in, there is a good argument to make. Makes more sense to rent than to buy. Shall we recap them? When you want to move. Easier or harder when you rent? If shit breaks, which it will, who's paying for it? Not you. Some people will say, well, what if the price of the land goes up? And it does. So that might work. Maybe. But then you think about the interest you paid, all the shit you invested in the property to make it go up, and the liability. I see both ways. But the consumer doesn't. The consumer goes, I gotta buy property. I gotta buy property. I would agree with buying real estate, but maybe buying real estate that's making you money. And sure shit, the house you live in is not making you money. But those are things you were taught, because it keeps the system going until it doesn't.